I've tested a lot of rowers, including an original Hydrow and a Hydrow Wave, but today we're talking about the Hydrow Arc. What's it all about? How does it compare against the originals? And you might want to stick around because this rower basically told me, Travis, you're rowing wrong. And it was right. And before we zoom in on the Arc, let me give you a quick Hydrow overview because as I've tested all these models, there's some things that I can say are consistent across all of them. First is the build quality. This is not something they cheap out on. There are not parts you're gonna find out like, why did they do that? Everything you look at, everything you test is just gonna make you think that was so fully engineered and thought out. This is a machine that is built to last, built to work very well for a very long time, and constantly reminds you that you bought a top tier product. Second, the seat glides extremely well and you don't even think about it, which is exactly what you want when you're breathing so hard from that workout that you're doing. Third, that screen is large, high quality, bright, and so well positioned that it immerses you in the experience. And if I use the word immerses, you know I like it because that's what I want this experience to do. Fourth, the foot holders are easily adjustable to your size, tighten right up real easily, and you're not gonna be fixing them mid-row. And last is the UI and content. And I've covered this in other Hydrow videos, so I'm gonna gloss over it so I can focus more on the machine itself. But here's what you need to know. When it comes to Hydrow, much like most other high-end platforms, the user interface is extremely easy to use, it's easy to navigate, it's easy to learn, and if you feel intimidated, don't. It's very well laid out, and anybody can quickly jump in and start to use it very well. But the big differentiator is the content. And this is where you need to know this is what you want. Hydrow is instructor-led. So if you want that person guiding you, teaching you, motivating you, getting the most out of that workout, you love that experience of them pushing you or kind of feeling like you're working out together, that is where Hydrow shines. That is their content style. It also gives a bit of an on-the-water feel. They have studio rides, they have different types of content, but a lot of them are just like this, where they're on the water, so it gives you a bit of an experience, a view, and just almost makes you feel like you're getting outside, even if you're in an indoor room rowing away. So you have to know it's not gamified, it's not racing, it is instructor-led. And if that is what pulls you in and that's what you want and you know you would love it, Hydrow is going to be a great option for you. Which brings me to a question. When it comes to content and working out, do you prefer something more gamified, more race style, or do you like something instructor-led like the Hydrow? Comment below. Let me know. All right, let's talk about the Arc and what sets it apart from the other models. And I'm going to break this into three categories. What I consider minor items, mid-level, and the major item that really changed the experience of the Hydrow and how I row. And first, they completely redesigned the resistance system. Now, with this, you're supposed to get a little bit more of a quicker pull on it, or you can feel that drag a little quicker, a little bit more control with how they can manage that, a little bit quieter. Overall, just a better system that should last longer. For me, being honest, I didn't notice a major difference, but that's more of a compliment to how well Hydrow's done all the way along because it's always been fantastic when it comes to resistance. Second, they redesigned the whole thing so it takes up a little bit less space, looks a little bit nicer, and anytime something like this takes up less footprint in your house, I am all about it. And third, moving it is a whole lot more manageable than it was before. Now what I consider the mid-level upgrades, and first, they updated the swivel design of the monitor. And this is nice because these machines are becoming less and less just one-trick ponies. It's just a rower, but it gives you an experience, lets you use it for more than that and justify that cost. So one, I can really angle it to get that experience I want, making sure it's where I want as I exercise, but I can rotate this and then do some of the off-the-rower exercises and have it face me where I'm not using the rower directly. And it is nice just to know that it can easily move where you want it and it's gonna hold still. And second, it's supposed to be quieter. It's been a while since I tested the original Hydrow. It had that same whirling noise, but I do think it was a little bit louder. And when it comes to wanting to use this, whether it's quiet time in the house, baby sleeping, whatever your situation is, if it's a little bit quieter and lets you still use this instead of upsetting others, you'll take it. And now on to the major improvement and big surprise, it's the Arc system. It's what it's named after. But if you're new to rowing, you might see a rower and go, I want that experience. I want that exercise. I'm engaging all sorts of muscles. I'm getting great cardio. That is a great workout. I want to try it, but I'm intimidated. I've never rowed before. I don't know how to do it right. I don't know if I'm going to be thinking I'm doing it right, but I'm really messing up or hurting my body. Well, there's two things about the Hydrow that really help bridge that gap so you can feel comfortable getting into rowing. First is the instructors. I said this is instructor-led, and they're always giving you tips, information, things you need to know about rowing and how to do it best and how to change it in different ways you can do it for different types of exercise. So you're constantly learning, which is great. But sometimes even with what they're telling you, you're like, am I doing this right? Is that the true method? I just don't know. That's where the ARC system comes in. It is constantly evaluating what you're doing and then giving you post-ride information that says, here's what you need to do different. Here's how you could do it better. And in my case, I learned that I was rowing too fast, but I also wasn't using my legs enough, or at least from a power perspective. I was kind of doing it for more of a cardio, like let's just keep going. I'm gonna go fast, I'm gonna really row. When I really need to slow down my cadence and have less actual rows, but when I do get in and go with my legs, I really need to push through and put some power in there and get more of a balanced exercise instead of just a cardio speed exercise. And once I started doing that, it was more manageable and I felt like I could row longer. I could keep my heart rate elevated higher. I could get a better workout. I could gauge my legs better. So there were a lot of positives from taking that feedback and using that every ride. It's not just a one-time thing. It's a constant improvement and constantly helping you to understand what you can do better, but also motivate you to change how you row and maximize what you're getting out of this very fancy machine. So the ARC system helps bridge that gap, and it really lets you get into rowing without feeling intimidated or like you're messing up. So it is a very nice feature to help with that comfort level. But if I was to summarize the ARC up and what it's all about, it is the same Hydrow machine. It keeps all those things that we already love about the platform: the build quality, the content, the UI, and the immersive screen. But then they took some of those things that just add to the experience a little bit and add up one by one to make you appreciate it that much more. But then when you throw on ARC, you get that feedback system that just makes you so much more comfortable with jumping into this, maximizing your results, and pushing yourself a little bit harder because it's telling you exactly what to do better or harder next time. And if you found this helpful, hit that like button so more people can find out about it. Subscribe so you know when new videos come out, and I'll keep them coming.